And the checkered flag has fallen. It's lights out. Welcome to the Pitwall live cast. Thanks, Dad, for joining me. And thank you, everyone who's joining in at this wee little hours of the morning. Dad, it's a little past 3 a.m., a little past 2 a.m. for me. And I'm glad everyone across the globe, if you're joining us, is having this opportunity. The FASP says, like Paris says, are you still awake? Greetings from Arizona. Let's go. Oh, nice. Yeah, just tell us in chat where you're from and say hi so we can tell where people... Oh, also tell us what time it is because I can't do the mental math. I know Arizona, if you're mountain time, you're an hour behind me, I believe. So it was a late night. Dad, tell us, how was it leading up to the race?
Oh, well, I thought I'd take a little nap, but I couldn't take a nap, so I'm just what I am. Hopefully I'll come across as having some energy.
Bro was going to join us, but Sable, our sister, and her husband are visiting, and so he's like, I can't record unless I wake up everybody. So he took some good notes, and we're going to pass that along. Now, to start off, just everyone in chat know that any questions you may have, we're going to do at the end. We're going to start off with interactions. If you say anything in the chat that matches what we're talking about, I can read it out. Actually, I wonder. Actually, I'll set it up for next time. There has to be a way to capture the chat so that it can display underneath. That'd be kind of cool. But anyways. Fast. It's 12:08 a.m. here. Nice to see you guys. Keep up the excellent work. Great race. Yes. Okay. We're going to start off, Dad, with the pit points. So you're going to describe the race in a pit stop time or less. Okay. How do you describe it, Dad?
Grand slam and oof.
Grand slam on one side, oof on the other. Yeah, chat, you guys can give us your pit points as well. Let's unpack that, Dad. So you're saying Leclerc just untouchable. At any point of the race, did you feel that he had any sort of competition?
Verstappen almost got him on the restart. There's a couple corners he was vulnerable, but he covered them up well. And then once he got free and clear, he went ahead. The Ferraris to me look like the Mercedes did during the previous era.
Like, we have one team that's really OP. Insert new team that's OP. Although, to be fair, though, it's not that they're overpowered as much as they have reliability. Like, if Verstappen didn't DNF 2 out of the 3 races, he would be much closer in the championship. He would have been second in the first race and this race. And so that goes to show that Mattia Binotto, like, being the technical director and then becoming the team principal, he's built a rocket of a reliable car, and that's going to serve Leclerc well. My pit... Oh, wait, sorry, to the oof. Is that oof referring to Verstappen or to anybody else in particular?
Yeah, Verstappen. You know, I'm a Red Bull fan. I'm a Verstappen fan, and to DNF 2 times out of 3 races, like he said, it's unacceptable.
Man, it's not even like he could tell. Like, he was going down the straight and... car just dead, and he pulls over, and it was like they because like this race had a lot of replays, but they like caught him just as he was pulling off. It was weird how unexpected it was, but big oof indeed.
He smelled something and decided that was not something he wanted to. You know, his engine would power, and then he smelled something, so he got off as quickly as possible, and then he had to show them that his engine was on fire.
That's true. You don't want the engine to take suffering. And if you get that problem, then it's going to roll down the road. Like, another big oof, I would say, is Alonso. Like, his reliability struck again. I know this is just a race reaction, but I'm going to weave in fantasy. If only I had listened to my 3 statistical secrets. I told the world, go in on Ocon. He is quiet. He is steady. He'll get you points. And what happened? I don't think, saw Ocon once the entire race, except when he was like behind a guy, when he was getting ready to pit or something like that. We never heard a peep from Ocon. Of course, he's going to get the bonuses for beating Alonso. Alonso was set to be on pole position with the lap that he was putting in. Hydraulic issue. He crashes, and then he starts on an alternative strategy on the hards, and boom, it just went back from there after the safety cars didn't go his way. How did you feel, Dad, about Sainz as well? I think those are big oofs, right? Alonso and Sainz both started on hards, and it really did not work for either of them.
No, Sainz had trouble controlling his car, and that would be the double oof because have Verstappen go out. That's my favorite driver, and then Sainz, which is on my fantasy team, and the constructor on my fantasy team that took a hit.
It took a
I don't know when I'm going to be able to get on the Orc Elite leaderboard. The way things are going for me.
I wonder what the Orc Elite is going to look like this week.
Oh,
whoever does not have Verstappen, whoever does not have Sainz, anyone who actually picked up Norris, good call. Actually, let's kick it over to the spreadsheet. I'm curious as to what the best constructor was. Let's go over to the Google sheet.
My plan had been I was going to Red Bull. I thought was going to finish. Then I'd switch over Red Bull and get their constructor bonus coming up, and that's not happening. They won't have a constructor bonus for a while now.
Well, so for the constructors, it's only every 3 races. So it's a lot shorter of a turnaround than the drivers. But yeah, Mercedes scored 64 points. This is all provisional results, but here's my calculations on the spreadsheet. Ferrari still got more points than Red Bull, though. So 44 points. They only lost 20 points to Mercedes, but here's the issue. Mercedes is just overpriced. How would you have put them on your team and then had any other drivers? So I still think Ferrari was the best with damage limitation. Leclerc was still the top scorer, Perez and Russell. Russell is proving, I can't put Perez, Russell, and Leclerc on the same team, but if we start getting budget, Russell is seeming like a very consistent pick. And then...
how'd you like that comment, though, by Hamilton with about 5 laps to go?
What do you say?
You put me in a difficult position.
Okay.
And I don't think his team is putting in a difficult position. I think the fact that he pit stopped and then the safety car came out and then Russell pitted and stayed in 3rd place, and had newer tires than Hamilton, they weren't going to say, hey, let Hamilton by.
True.
So
Hamilton finished the race 3 seconds behind Russell, but like you said, there was a point where he was getting into DRS and he was going to get real close. Do you think he would have sent it up if he had the opportunity, or do you think it was because the team gave him some orders that he decided to hang back?
I didn't hear any orders per se, but Hamilton generally is a relatively safe driver. I don't think he wanted to potentially crash out both of them. If he was a little more aggressive and Russell tried to defend aggressively, then Mercedes would have neither. So I don't know if Hamilton himself just decided that, being the veteran driver, or if he had some help from.
Well, I think it's a little tricky. Let us know, chat. What do you thought? Because I feel like because of the safety car, Russell was able to get the position. And because he had the position, he wasn't able to pass Hamilton at the beginning of the race. But like you're saying, maybe there's like some sort of team involvement where they're really having them hold position. Because at the end of the day, they have a reliable car. And so if they're not pressing their car to mess up their strategy, they're going to just pick up points. And then Russell, of course, was favorable. Like I said at the beginning of the season, all Russell has to do is finish ahead of Hamilton a few races, and they're going to start prioritizing. He's now 3rd in the championship. And so that is really great. Here's the crazy thing. If Perez had not DNF'd on the last lap of the first race, I think Red Bull would be at the position where they would start prioritizing Perez in the championship. I know it's a long season, but Verstappen would be there to pressure Leclerc so that Perez can get good points. But I don't know. How do you guys think? Do you think the drivability and reliability of the Red Bull is going to start causing Perez to be favored at the team, or Russell to be favored at the team? We'll wait for chat to chime in. While we're waiting, Aman says, always believe Sainz was the safest fantasy pick because of reliability. Yeah, so here's the thing. He's reliable, but his tire strategy was not. And here's a crazy thing. Last seasons leading up to here, your Q2 tire decided what tire you're going to start the race on. But because that is now out the window, you can choose any tire to start on. Your fantasy picks are a little bit of out the window, right? Because you don't know if they're going to just slap an alternative strategy out, like what happened to Sainz. Just randomly decided to start on hards. It was not the choice, and he slid out and was gone. Fast says, Hamilton being Hamilton with that last comment. So Hamilton is very keen to let the team know that he wants his strategy to revolve around him, right? And so that's what it means to be the leader. And it'll be interesting if his comments start changing, if it seems like they're starting to give Russell preferential treatment. I don't think that was the case, right? It was clear. It was when the safety car came out. That's when Russell got ahead. But he said, seems like safety cars aren't treating us well. That's what happened last race.
Well, remember what happened when Verstappen was holding him up. I'm wondering what's going to happen if Russell starts holding him up and he perceives that Russell's holding him up. Is he going to push and maybe get in an accident sometime this year with Russell?
True. Well, let's continue that on. Okay, so I would say my pit point would be the hards all the way to the end. Like, Albon did 57 after 58 laps on the hards, and he would have been disqualified or something if he hadn't done a second tire strategy, but they pulled it out so much that he went on softs in the last lap and was able to hold that 1 point. Amon saying Alonso and Magnussen should have pulled off an Alonso. Do you think that it was just because of the Williams car, or do you think that that's what they should have done? They should have just gone long, hope for a late safety car, and then pit on softs at the very end like Albon did.
I kind of think the strategy of the people who pitted under the safety car worked better than trying to go long and not get a safety car.
Yeah, but Magnussen and Alonso were out of the points, whereas Albon was able to get the last point. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I believe that both Magnussen and Alonso were ahead of Albon before the pit stops. So if they had left the hard tires on and Albon was able to lap at the same pace as the people around him, that's crazy. They projected that the hards would be 40 laps. He went 17 laps over, a little bit because of safety cars, but he went over and was still lapping the same time as the other cars on the less fuel. So if they were ahead of him and he got 10th, then they probably would have been able to slot in around 8 or 9 because they wouldn't have had traffic and probably eventually would have had clean air. But what do you guys think, chat? Do you think Alonso Magnussen should have been able to pull it out, or was that because of the Williams car that he was able to go so far?
It was interesting that they were commenting about Alonso. They thought when he put mediums on that he would be able to pass easier, and he didn't seem to pass easier.
No, and then he overcooked his, his front left or something like that, and so then he had to back off, and then 2 cars passed him, and then they repit him again. They thought maybe he'd gone for fastest lap to take away from Leclerc. Leclerc's on the radio like, hey, I want to do a fastest lap. No, you're cool, just wait. But
at least he did on the last lap to make sure, because they said that if he hadn't gotten it on the last lap again, he would have lost it.
Yes. Amon saying, definitely Alonso could have because Ocon wasn't able to overtake. Chad, if you're going to bear with me for a moment, there has to be a way. Let's see. Browser, color source, display capture, image, media source, window capture? Yes, I'm going to call this chat. Okay, there has to be a way to include chat in here. No, these are all just Opera. There's nothing in here from OBS. Okay, never mind. We'll go cancel, and we'll delete that. If anyone knows on OBS how to set chat, because we could just put it in the bottom corner right next to us, but sorry, this has derailed our entire life. I don't know how. Oh, there we go. Remove. Okay, let's go over to the official standings, of course. We've got some chances that they could change, but here we go. Let's see what happens. Like I said earlier, you had Hamilton, who finished 3 seconds adrift of George Russell, but it was good. It was good indeed that he was able to pull it back in. And then how did you feel, Dad, about Lando and Ricciardo? Like, they had a pretty quiet race. It was pretty exciting in the little battles coming out of the pits, but it seemed like they just did their job, got a nice haul of points for their team.
When Norris came in qualified 4th, I thought, wow, this is cool. Maybe he'll stay ahead of the Mercedes, but he lost that pretty quickly.
Like, is he enough, though, do you think, to like put on your team for next week? Like, do you think this was a one race benefit because it was the home race for Ricciardo? Because I was thinking about that. I feel like teams design their cars around their home races because that's when they're going to get the most eyeballs on their sponsorships. And so do you think this was more of them designing the car around Australia? or yeah.
I think Mercedes and McLaren did much better than we potentially expected from the first of the season. So they keep making upgrades. So I would guess that this is going to be an ongoing upgrade or ongoing thing. So I see right now in my mind Ferrari, then Red Bull, then Mercedes, then McLaren until otherwise proven. And whether or not that means that McLaren will be worth a constructor for their points, I'm not sure. I don't.
No, I don't think the constructor at all. Like, I don't think the constructor at all, but definitely for the drivers moving forward. Like, Norris went up 0.2 million, like, immediately. Just skyrocketed. People were wanting them real good. Man. So, let's see. What else? We had Russell, of course, Hamilton, Norris. Okay, Ocon, like I said at the very beginning of our live cast, like, if I had just listened to my 3 statistical secrets, Ocon was the play. He was the play. But, we all got excited with Alonso, and it ended up not working out. Hey, bro's chiming in. He may not be able to be here live on his camera because he doesn't want to wake people up, but he's going to chime in chat. Perhaps it's too early to say, but this race makes it look like the Mercedes engines aren't as bad as we were saying. Okay, unpack that. What do you think, Dad? Do you think there's something under the hood, or is it just going to be track specific?
Well, the thing is, they didn't make any upgrades, and they have better pace. So I don't know if they were hiding or they're just getting more used to their car. So they're driving better with the car. Now they're getting more used to it. That's a good question.
That is a good question indeed, because it looks like, let's count them. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and then 5. So 5 Mercedes powered cars got in the top 10. And then the ones that didn't, well, Stroll, he had his 5-second penalty and was doing some naughty stuff, weaving around.
Yeah.
Nicholas Latifi was just in the back. And then you had Vettel, and then you had Alonso as well. So it sounds like, though, that it's going to end up being track by track. And like you said, if the Mercedes are this good without any upgrades, because Mercedes has a tendency to bring a major upgrade. They don't do little upgrades. They do major upgrades. If the Mercedes brings a major upgrade that fixes their porpoising, like, it's going to heat things up. Now, do you think, chat, especially you, Dad, do you think that Ferrari is going to build enough of a gap that they're going to be able to hold it off? Or do you think that's going to be Mercedes coming back as a haunting force?
At this point, I think that it's Leclerc's to lose. Verstappen has not been able to keep up with the pace, and even if Hamilton and Russell get better pace, unless Leclerc messes up or DNFs or something, he's only going to continue podium. I don't see him not being in the top 3 in each of in upcoming races.
True. Okay, well, this is a nice segue. Before we get there, Aman says, after half the season, Merck should be able to overcome porpoising, which will make things interesting. Interesting indeed. I know that there's a lot of people wishing there was a 3-way fight. Like you're saying, though, it doesn't seem like Verstappen has the ability to catch Leclerc. It's certain tracks maybe, but it's really hard. Leclerc's able to just pull ahead and pull away. Now, if the Mercedes fixes it, like you said, that might end up getting tasty. But that's our segue to Twitter. If you haven't already, go over to our Twitter, Relsick Racing. I'm going to share it right here. You're going to kind of know what the stats are. If you don't want spoilers, just go immediately to Twitter and vote. But here we go. So I had to put this out here. Leclerc has doubled his F1 wins today. 4 wins. Congratulations. Let's take this opportunity to give a congratulations to Leclerc. Yeah, he had 2 wins in 2019. He's now got 2 wins this season, already doubled. Does he double again this season? So the 3 options are: 1, he will double it once, 8 wins this season. Twice, he will double it, get 16 wins. Or no, he will get 7 or less wins this season. What do you think, Dad? Will he double it once, twice, or no?
I think he'll double it and go more than double.
Okay, so more than double, but not enough to get 16 is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably. I'm not envisioning 16, especially if in certain tracks, Verstappen and potentially one of the Mercedes are going to come back.
You know, it's going to be tough just because he's won 2 out of 3. Well, he could have probably won the third one as well, but just because he's won 2 out of 3 does not guarantee that he's going to win and win and win. Like even Hamilton in his best seasons only would win half the races. If there's 23, let's make it 22. That's 11. That means Hamilton was averaging 11 wins per season. Well, actually, they didn't even do 23. They were doing more about 21, 22. But the point is, it's really hard because, like you said, maybe a team rocks up and has a better strategy. Maybe they're built around a better circuit. It's going to be tough to be able to dominate so long. Okay, let's see. Paco, yeah, it's smashed together. So I'll just say that. P3, 4, 5 for British drivers. Ooh, nice catch. Yeah. So we had Russell, Hamilton, Norris. Congratulations. A nice showing by our British drivers, all popping off.
They seem to do really well on faster tracks, the British drivers, and when it's really rainy.
It's almost like there's an advantage of being your home track where the crowd, I heard, is just exciting, ecstatic at oh, sorry, I'm blanking. It's I want to say the corners, Silverstone. Sorry, chat. I can't believe I was blanking on that. I was thinking Cops Corner and Hanger Straight, and I was like, why am I thinking the names of the corners and not? There was a great podcast by F1. It's called okay, sorry. Sorry. This is the problem about a live stream. You forget when you say things off the top of it. Just go to Formula One, and there's a podcast that comes once a week, and they interview people. I think it's called Beyond the Grid. I think that's what it's called, Beyond the Grid. And they had Nigel Mansell. He's like one of my favorite all-time racers for Formula One. They had him on. It was amazing as he was talking about why he and Hamilton were able to perform so well at Silverstone. So great. F1 Nation is also a really good podcast. That is, they talk about anything, but Beyond the Grid is really good as it does like one-on-one interviews. Okay, bros chiming in again. Schumacher and Vettel are tied with 13 points in a season. So unless this is a wild season, 16 seems like a pipe dream. That's true. The record currently is 16 wins in a season. 13... Sorry, the record's 13. 16 would be very hard to do. 13 would be very hard to do indeed. If you vote 2 times, 16 wins, are you considering a Leclerc win in Monaco at last? Okay, yes, chat. I think, remember how I told you earlier that they build the car around their home circuits, okay? And when we talked about... Oh, no, he didn't. Dad, I guess this is the time to talk about it. So I had to put a question out. It was really early in the morning. I had been editing for so long. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to cut out the 30 minutes of our last podcast. So I asked you guys in Discord and in Twitter. And I was like, should I have a 2-hour-long podcast or a 90-minute? And they said 90 minutes. And so we cut out our major lengthy discussion. So we'll have it here briefly. So Monaco is at the end of its contract. They currently pay $15 million. And actually, I could probably pull up this tweet real quick so you guys can see the poll. So they pay $15 million, and that is way below the average that most people have. Let's transition this real quick. So the Vegas deal that just got signed is worth 10 years for $1 billion. The hosting fee is $31.5 million in year 1, and it's all the way up to $48.9 million in year 10. Monaco paying $15 million hosting fee per year, and the average circuit fee is $34.5 million. So with only 24 races allowed in the Concord Agreement, do you guys see Monaco paying 15 to 25 million, 25 to 35 million, over 35 million, or not paying at all and getting dropped? And it was really close. 30% said that they will end up paying more than 35 million. Followed closely behind, 28% said between 25 35 million. 25% said Monaco gets dropped. But here's the thing, though. With Leclerc showing the form he has, if they drop Monaco, this may be his last opportunity to win his home Grand Prix. No Monegasque has ever won that home Grand Prix. So, Dad, do you think this is the year? Can he pull the gremlins off his back and win Monaco with the car that he's got?
I think he has the right car, and I think he's more mature than the last time he was going to win and crashed. So, yeah, I think this is his year.
And I think, this is my personal theory, if you have a champion, that home race is going to be important. So the reason why Zandvoort is on the calendar for the Netherlands is because you have Verstappen. Why do you have the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona? Because of Alonso and Sainz. And so if he becomes champion, Leclerc, not only is Monaco like the crown jewel, it's also his home race. If he's the champion, like I just see them working a deal out with Monaco. It may be more money, but I cannot see them just suddenly dropping it. But yes, I think Leclerc has the car, and as we see, the car is faster in the corners, not on the straights. What is Monaco all about? The corners. And so I can see that the car would be very well suited for Leclerc. Bro saying perhaps he should try not destroy his car in Q3, and then we can talk. Oh boy. Savage.
Yeah. But I do agree with you. I'm thinking that Monaco, as long as they now have someone who's competing, they'll pay the extra money because people will come and fill the seats, and they'll probably get their money back. Versus if no one was really up in the top three.
Yeah, especially with how so Monaco's a little tricky, right? Because how do they charge people tickets when you can pull a yacht into port right there and just watch? Like, they must have some sort of docking fee that charges people, but I don't know if they do. They also are notorious for not charging taxes in Monaco. So where do you get your $15 million to host the race? So is the casino bankrolling this? I'm not sure. Like, that's something I would be very interested in. How do they generate their money? And maybe that's why they haven't put as much money out there, is because they don't generate all that money from the people living in, because it's a tax haven. But yes, this could be his chance to win his home Grand Prix. Like, that's the fascinating thing about Leclerc. You could just tell the difference in how he interacts with the camera compared to Verstappen last season, right? Leclerc, he's always like smiling and giving a thumbs up to the camera. You can tell like he's just like a cool, genuine dude. Like Verstappen, he's cool too, but like he doesn't like smile as much as Leclerc does, right? And so it's fascinating to see their personality differences. And I can see why the Tifosi love Leclerc.
I think it's interesting how this does show that there can be drivers that are very similar in skill, and you give them a little better car and they perform much better.
True.
So how many people would have put Leclerc on Hamilton's level? I mean, not historically, but right now on his level last year and this year. But now that he has a little better car, now people are kind of thinking, hey, he could be up on that level with Hamilton and Verstappen.
True. Well, I personally thought about it as soon as he rolled up in 2019. 2019, they had a better engine in the car before it got allegedly nerfed. Everyone thinks that there was something that they were getting around the regulations, but it was technically legal, but they didn't want to reveal because of, competitive advantage. Anyways, that's why they're abysmal in the last 2 years. But in 2019, he was holding off Hamilton for multiple races. And the straight line speed of the Ferrari was crazy. Now, they've gone with a different concept this time. It's not straight line speed, it's more that cornering speed. But I just knew in 2019, like you said, Dad, you give a guy the right car, and he is going to be able to make wins. Like Alonso, El Plan. I know it's a meme for Alpine, but he was showing this week that if he had a car that was able to compete with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls and the Mercedes, I think he could easily win another championship. Alonso just seems that he would put it together and he could win. It's fascinating, like you said. You just give him the right car. Okay, let's see. Amon says he had a great debut season in Sauber as well. So that's another thing. He was only in Formula One season with Sauber and then immediately to Ferrari. So he won the F2 championship. He did a stellar season with Sauber. Alfa Romeo I think it was Alfa Romeo's first season, right? Sauber, Alfa Romeo? Don't quote me on that. And then straight up to Ferrari. And now I see why Ferrari was making him the future, right? We're seeing that he's able to manage it. Sainz, I'm not going to pull the rug out from him right now. I think he was just unlucky. But we're noticing the difference between Sainz and Perez and Verstappen and Leclerc. But don't count out Perez. Perez seems to be adjusted to this car quite well. And as the season progresses, Perez could be in the hunt. He's going to have to start out-qualifying Leclerc and winning. Well, he did it last race. He did out-qualify him, so he's got to do that a few more times. Bro says, don't quote me on that. That's gonna be my phrase. Like, put that on a t-shirt. I'm gonna say that all this year. Don't quote me on that. Okay, let's carry it over to some of our race notes. Thanks, bro, for putting this together. I think we've kind of already talked about most of this, but let's go back. New regulations won't allow drivers to wear piercings. Hamilton continues to wear piercings in spite of it. Yeah, it seems like it's some sort of safety thing, but not really. I don't know why they would make that decision. But yeah, a lot of drivers are kind of like, how do you guys feel? Do you think there's some leeway, or I've noticed that they start tightening up the rules? For example, Verstappen was jostling the front car after safety, as the safety car was in. They immediately made a rule because he did that 2 races in a row. They're like, no more. You can't pass the rear wing. And then there's other technical regulations and stuff that they've been really clamping down. So how do you guys feel about the FIA? Is the FIA like clamping down good, or do you think they should be a little bit more lax? What are your thoughts, Dad?
Well, the thing with Verstappen, even though I'm a Verstappen fan, I think it looked nicer for him to be behind versus being beside and doing that. So I kind of like the fact that if you're going to make a rule, you really need to enforce it.
Yeah, so apparently the whole piercings thing was on the books for a long time. They're just finally getting around to enforcing it. Okay, so our next thing. Dom's not wrong. New Alpine livery looks better than all pink. Okay, chat, we had a vote before the beginning of the season. Pink or blue? Thank you, chat, for those in the Discord. You found that GIF Dominick was talking about from the Cinderella Disney animated film where they're going pink, blue dress, pink dress, and it kept changing. So what do you think, Dad? Did you like the Alpine more in blue or more in the pink?
I like it how it looks now better than how it did in the pink.
Yeah, there's something about the glossiness. I think it really catches the light nice. Okay, Aman says, I like how they are taking a stand finally. Better to be wrong than vague. True. So I am the FIA for a online racing community, and that is one of the things that we're always having to deal with. It's better to be like strong in what the boundaries are, because people love to dwell in the vagueness and then they'll call you out on it so I'm always trying to be a stickler for the rules. Bro says not having Verstappen hugging his opponents is less interesting, but the rule makes sense. Yeah, like, do you think Verstappen would have been able to make the move? I think he would have got the move off if he was able to jostle Leclerc. He had no chance of catching Leclerc, and Leclerc did a little slip out, but he had no chance the whole race. And if he had been able to jostle him, maybe that mistake would have been harder because he would have been alongside now. But I can understand for safety reasons. You don't want Verstappen. It's inevitable. Excuse me. I think it's inevitable. Verstappen would eventually put a guy on the wall by accident, right? They'd be jostling, going close, and then somebody's going to hit somebody. Okay, continuing on. The track has been adjusted. Perhaps makes comments. Okay, last minute, the drivers convened, and convinced the FIA to remove the 4th DRS zone between turn 8 and 9. What did you guys think? I think 3 allowed for some action. There was a lot of DRS trains, but I don't know. I think 4 DRS zones may have been a little bit more balanced because, I don't know, it just felt like you were still getting stuck behind people. I'm seeing you nod your head, Dad. What do you think?
Yes, from what I see, I think having another one would have made it more interesting.
So it seems like they're doing a lot of stats and projections, and so I think they should just be firm and say, I know, drivers, you're talking about this, but we're going to do it. Now, to counter this, to the safety issue, Peter Windsor on YouTube, he's been around F1 for a very long time. I love his videos he puts out. And one of the things he talked about is that they put in a lot of safety in everywhere except one thing. And it's because it's really hard to do. There's not a lot of safety around high-speed straights, right? You just have barriers. And what happens if you blow a tire and full speed you hit something? And so I think the reason why the drivers had a point is if you have so many DRS zones and I'm trying to pass you on a fast straight that's bending with all these DRS zones, that means that you have a higher risk of a crazy accident. You saw what happened with Schumacher and Tsunoda? Like they were getting ready for the restart. Tsunoda went a little fast, stopped, and Schumacher flew right past him. Like he could have plowed right into the back of Tsunoda. That was insane. And that's things that they're trying to avoid, is those little moments where you could just plow into the back of somebody at high speed. Who was that also earlier? Was it Magnussen? He was trying to catch a guy on DRS and he almost hit the back of another car. There was a couple times where you got a little tricky on those high speed things. Okay, we'll continue on. 490,000 people plus in attendance. Was it really? Was it 491? Maybe it was. Largest attendance for any Australian sporting event ever. So being gone 2 years has made a big difference. Everybody's like, back to Australia. Okay, Dad, how did you think about that? Do you think that this is something showing that a lot of these tracks are going to start pumping out those numbers, or was it purely because Australia was gone for 2 years?
I think there's more interest in the sport. I think in Australia, it's probably the fact that it was gone for a couple of years. And Ricardo, he's always an interesting guy, and so they like to follow him, even though he hasn't been doing as well as he'd like.
So I think if tracks can start having this type of turnout, I think a lot of tracks are going to survive on the calendar, because one of the big reasons why they can't renew their contracts, because they say we can't make enough off of ticket sales. But if they're able to start having these record-breaking crowds, then they could say, okay, 35, 40 million is worth it, because we now know that people are going to show up in mass. And so that'll be fascinating if this can be a benefit for all the tracks. Okay, circling back to DRS. The FAST says, I think that with another DRS zone, 4 in total, would generate more did not starts with the fastest Pirelli compound available. So you think it would have been putting a lot more pressure on the tires and stuff. That would have been interesting to see how that would have impacted it. Okay. Okay, let me open this up to you guys, chat. Do you think any other tracks are going to get over 400,000 this year? Because last year, Circuit of the Americas, Austin, had over 400,000, and that was the biggest attended Formula One race. And so now we have Australia that's already beaten that with 490, almost 500,000 people. Like, is this the new norm? Because I was thinking about this. Okay, being from the United States, and when you think 400,000, you think that's insane amount of number. And then you think of a football team, right, Dad? So how many, I think you know this stat, right? How many people show up at AT&T Stadium for the Dallas Cowboys? That's like one of the largest stadiums, right?
Usually around 100,000.
100,000, okay? 100,000. So you're like, okay, 400,000, that's much bigger than a football game. But here's the thing. They get to host 8 home games in a season. So that's 800,000 people that are going to go through that stadium doors over the course of a season, whereas Australia GP has one shot. So I think that's going to be insane. When you have those type of numbers showing up for one Grand Prix, like Formula One will start competing with the top world sports. I know, like we're saying, okay, you have Premier League, you have all the soccer leagues in Europe, right? You have the American football in the United States. But when Formula One starts getting those numbers that compare, like you're going to start seeing them like dominating the charts. Amon says, if the season keeps getting more interesting, I can see it crossing these numbers consistently. See, that's what Formula One's all about, right? If you know, sorry, let me back that up. If you don't know who's going to win, right, and you don't know what's going to happen because any team could pull out a surprise, yeah, like you said, more and more people are probably going to turn out. Bro says, I think that the new regulations, which are causing more passing and closer racing, will result in higher interest and large live participation. Okay, so here's 2 things I noticed that happened on the live stream today, on the broadcast. Normally, they would start with pole position and work their way down to P20. And then this race, I heard them starting from the back, and they started 20 all the way to the 1. And I was like, why did I never notice this before? It's boring to start with pole position. If you think about it from a narrative standpoint, you've already given away the most favored driver, right? So who cares about all the people down the order? If you start at the back, you're building anticipation and storylines to the front of the grid. It's just a small little thing, but it's clever that they're doing it. And then the other thing is they no longer say DNF. Did you guys notice that? They no longer say DNF. They say out. And so what they're doing is they're using lingo to allow casual viewers to better understand what's going on in the sport. And so, like you said, if more things are happening, more people are going to have their eyeballs on it. That means more people are going to get in the sport easy. I know there's a lot of people pushing back, but it's about the technical regulations and it's about how they build the car. But we're seeing the benefit of getting casual people in first. Then they will care about the technical stuff. Like, Dad, to put this case in point, how many years have you tried to get Mom to like enjoy watching football with you? And like, how often does she watch a game with you for the whole time?
Well, typically, if it's really important to me, she'll watch it.
Okay.
And that's usually like if it's a playoff game or something like that.
Okay.
But not just those casual.
Usually playoffs.
Sunday game.
And she never joins you usually for Thanksgiving because we're grabbing the food and going, right? So it's usually us watching it with you. But here's Mom doing it because she knows you like it. But here she's found a driver that she likes in Formula One, and now she's watching because she just wants to watch it. Like, that's crazy to me that my mom, who's her main sports team was the Yankees, because being from Puerto Rico, moving to Queens, New York, like you're with the Yankees, right? But like, I don't see Mom ever watching baseball, right? Growing up, we might have played it, but it was not like she was actively following it. And here she is watching with you, not because you like it just because you like it, but here she is actually wanting to root for somebody. And that's going back to the point that the casual viewer base is becoming more and more invested.
Well, it also helps that we have the podcast, because she's watching the podcast with me and she's investing because her family is interested in the sport.
So you're saying if we didn't have the podcast, then there's no, like, she's learning about the sport because of the podcast, which means that she's learning about what we care about and say, oh, that's interesting. Okay. You guys have stories about that? Anybody that you know that is casually getting into the sport because of like you talking about it or social media? I think that's been a big point, is social media. Okay, Leo says, just joining now. Did we already discuss F1 Fantasy or not? A little bit. We're starting to get to the, we're at 48 minutes or so. So we're starting, oh wait, I had a 5-minute timer. So we'll add an extra 5 minutes. But we're starting to get to the point where if you have questions, I'll let you know and then we can start talking about fantasy in depth. Okay, bro says, only time she did was when the Yankees made it to the World Baseball Classic. I still remember, bro, when you and I were watching the, was it the Cubs versus the Cleveland Indians, right? Neither of them had won the World Series in years and years and years, and we were sitting down watching Game 7. That was insane. So baseball can be good, but I always wait till the playoffs. Same thing with basketball. There's just way too many games in a season, right? And so I usually tune in when it comes to playoffs. But Formula One, like, I guess it's because every event is so unique and so different. It becomes its own, like, memory. Like, you kind of want to watch it. Okay, anyways, the Fast, new regulations, post-COVID or Netflix effect. I'm part of the Netflix wave. True. A lot of people came in because of the Netflix wave. I was before that, but that was because I decided I wanted to get back into Formula One. I had a childhood memory, and I would not have gotten into Formula One if it wasn't for F1 TV. F1 TV, making it available in the United States where I don't have cable, I don't buy all these packages for stuff, like that was important for me. And then I watched all the archive footage so that I could catch up on all the years. So yeah, I think that's another thing, post-COVID. I guess as now people are coming out of COVID, people are becoming more comfortable coming to events, then that means that we're going to see bigger and bigger numbers. Let me give a shout out. McLaren, back, baby, back. I'm happy that McLaren was doing good. Okay. Continuing on, bro wrote, Sainz overshoots the stop, spins out. We kind of talked about that already. Stroll. Dad, what do you think what's going on with Aston Martin? Do you think like they're going to go bankrupt before the end of this season? It's like they're crashing and they're not getting in the points. They're getting penalties. Their drivers are, I don't know. I saw this crazy meme, okay? The best performing drivers at Australia were Aston Martins. And those were the safety car and the medical car.
Oh boy.
No!
I don't know what happens to a team if they run out of money with budget cap. Do they just not start? Do they start
No,
an old looking car?
yeah, if you can't pay it, then you could withdraw. I think with the new regulations and stuff, they shouldn't go bankrupt, but they're going to hit their cost cap, which means that they're going to get stuck with these old cars. So I'm not sure how you handle that. What happens if you run out of pieces? Now, here's some rumor, okay? I don't usually put rumors on the podcast because I only want news. But Porsche has been in talks with Red Bull to be a part of their powertrains division starting 2026 to partner up and make an engine. McLaren and Audi were talking, and apparently that is starting to stall, and Audi isn't going to be able to do a buyout of McLaren. So now it seems like Audi might turn to Aston Martin. That could be a big, big boon for Aston Martin because they're building the new manufacturing facility, and then if Audi comes on board, that means they get their own engine supplier, which could allow them to break like notice the most successful teams that we're seeing right now, people that build their own engines. Ferrari, Red Bull, it's technically Honda, but Red Bull, Mercedes, and then if you're able to get Aston Martin with like an Audi engine, or excuse me, I forgot Alpine. They're kind of midfield, but, they had that opportunity. We could see Audi and Porsche making big waves. Whew. Okay, bro put his hero in his zero. So he said his hero was Albon. What a mad lad. Only changing tires on the last lap because he has to. Still ends in the points. First race since last year and continues spinning the stereotype is Vettel. It's so sad. Do you think, Dad, Vettel, or chat, let me know. Do you think Vettel might retire at the end of this year if Aston Martin's at the back of the pack the whole season?
I think he'll consider it. I'm not sure he will if he still enjoys driving and they will still want him.
He's such a good, chill dude. But, I don't know. Because, see, if Hamilton had the problems he had last race all season, I figured he would retire as well. But Mercedes shows that they have a car. They just need to fix a couple issues. So I could see Mercedes keeping Hamilton for the full contract. I don't know if he'll continue beyond that, but he's definitely going to stick around at least for another year for sure. Okay, I have not drank water in a long time. Thank you, chat. Fastest. So it pops up on YouTube before it pops up to OBS. Michael says, "Hi guys." Hello, Michael. Good comments on the videos. Oh, Dad, we got some great content from the. We got some great content from the Game Center. So thanks for putting that on. And chat, you can give little clap emojis because Dad has been putting some good things together. And some people said, man, I'm saying the word too much. That ending tiebreak, one driver, one country, one racetrack, really threw some people. Some people forgot that Verstappen was just even in the mix. And some people are like, it was so cringe that we couldn't remember people. But they're putting people on the spot. That's my segue, Dad. What is the Game Center preview that you've got for chat today? Don't forget, chat, tune in. As he says his preview, you get to type it in, and we'll give a shout out to whoever gets that first.
This time it's called Flags Wave. And what I'm going to do is give you a hint or a situation, and you're going to describe the flag of the country that was represented. And whoever describes it in the chat and Jeanmark can guess the flag, then I know that you got the right one.
Okay, so say it one more time. So you're saying you're going to describe something,
yeah,
and they just have to say the flag?
No, they have to describe the flag to you, and you have to guess it. So whoever describes it on chat.
And okay, so chat, you're going to help me figure this out. Okay, you got to help me here. Okay. Okay, you're going to try to help me figure out the flag, okay? I need keyboard warriors. Here we go. Okay. All
right.
I'll try to listen.
Now, so they need to describe the flag of the person, the racer in eighth standing in the drivers before this race started.
Okay, so they can't just tell me the name of the flag. They have to describe it. Okay.
Right, and so it's the eighth driver.
Okay, so chat, before this race, who was eighth in the championship? Describe their flag for me. Here we go. I won't look up the answers. I promise.
Good.
Chat's thinking. Chat is thinking. 8th place in the championship before this race began. Man, I think everyone's going to go to Formula1.com and be confused, probably because it's already updated to this week.
I can give them, if they're having trouble with that, I can tell them the driver, and then they could describe the flag.
But here's the problem: if it's the driver, I know the flag.
Ah.
I know all the drivers. I know the drivers. I know them. Okay, chat's getting a little quiet. A little quiet indeed. Okay. Want to give him a little hint or something? Okay, we got her first. It's coming in. It's coming in here short. I'm going to move over YouTube thing a little bit to the left so I can see chat before it goes OBS. Michael says, I can't even remember who was 8th. Ooh.
Okay. So why don't we flip this up?
Okay, let's flip it.
Okay, good. No.
Oh, white cross. White cross. Okay, white cross. That would be because the white cross I'm thinking has a blue background, but no, that's a yellow cross, and that would be Sweden. So white cross in the flag means that it's... No, they'll figure it out. Okay, I know there's no Swiss drivers, and that has a white cross. Man, why wouldn't you would think this would be easy. Okay, are you giving a clue because it's Australian? Or if it's got the Union Jack, then that means it would be one of the British drivers. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Finland. You're Finland. Sweden is blue and yellow, and then Finland is blue with a white cross. So that means Bottas was in 8th place then.
Nope.
Wait. What? Okay, chat, help me here.
Someone's going to have to tell you the background color. The white cross is correct.
Okay, correct. Chat, don't tell me the countries. You have to describe the flag. Don't tell me the countries. Okay, so another flag that has a white cross on it, but that's not Finnish. Okay, looks like Swiss. It looks Swiss, though. Why would I be blanking? Because, like, Switzerland's very clear. It's red with a white cross in the middle. Everything else would have to be very... No, I'm still Googling it. You guys are fast. Oh, chat, help me here. I'm floundering. I know if I knew the driver, if I was told the driver, I'd immediately know. Why can I not figure out this? It has a white cross, which means that if it's European, it's always, like, offset. So then it goes that way. So it's Denmark. It's red with a white cross. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's Magnussen. I can't believe. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Yes, Isaac. Yes, red background. I was like, man.
Are you ready for the second one?
Okay, chat. You got to really help me here. I don't know. I was blanking. Okay, here we go, Dad.
Okay, so the constructor that was in 3rd position. You need to describe their flag.
Constructor is in 3rd position. I could pretty much guess who was in 3rd position before this race. But you got to give me a clue. Now, remember, it's about who they're licensed with. Who are they licensed with? So I'm going to give chat I'm going to give them a chat because I gave, well, let me give shout outs to the guys who helped me for the last one. Michael, you were trying to figure it out, helping me out. You kind of named the country, but okay. Aman, thank you for the white cross. And thank you, Isaac, for the red background. Okay, now I need some help. The 3rd place constructor before this race described their flag for me. I think I can guess it already, but I want to give a shout out to somebody in chat who's able to help me out. Getting quiet in here. Okay, white cross again, mate. A white cross again? Really? Because I thought... Really? Because I thought... Yeah, I don't... Because I thought it was Red Bull, though, right? Red Bull was 3rd in the constructors, right, Dad?
That's correct. And they don't.
I thought a Red Bull was 3 stripes. One was white in the middle. Okay, red and white. Okay, thank you, Aman, right? So it's the Austrian flag, right? Because it's red on the white, red on the sides, white in the middle. Okay. Thank you, Manuel. Yeah. It's a stripe, not necessarily a cross, but yeah. Okay, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, very good. Appreciate you guys helping him. Now the last one.
Okay, the last one. Okay, Chad, you got to help me out here.
The race in round 6 this year, that's going to take place May 20th through 22nd.
Okay, 6th race for the 2022 calendar.
Mm-hmm.
You said it takes place in May.
Yep.
You got to help me understand the flag. Okay, I also think I know the answer for this one because traditionally, the 5th race of the season is always Monaco, and it's always held in May. Mm. But here's the thing, though, right? Monaco isn't the 5th race this season. So why would Monaco not be the 5th race this season? Because they're trying to promote another race in May. So what race would get May priority? That gives you guys some hints. Try to help me out. 6th race, 2022. What would be the flag? Thank you to everyone who's here live. We've got 69 views. We have 14 concurrent viewers. So I'm thankful for everyone who's here live. The Cheapies beers are not helping to solve this. This flag has a shield and 2 Muir colors, red and yellow. So that would be Spain.
Very good.
Woo! Thank you, Mon. Thank you, Fast. Thank you, Aryaman. Red and yellow. So if I'm correct, Dad, right? It's the first race in May is Miami, right?
Have to double check.
Oh, you don't have that. Okay, I'll look that up real quick. Because if I remember correctly, I was right about them pushing Monaco, right? And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So you May 8th, which is the Miami, and Miami is the 5th round. So I was right. They put Miami in the 5th round spot, which then pushed back Monaco. Oh, I see. So it's Spain then Monaco. So Miami, Spain, then Monaco. So Monaco got pushed all the way to the last potential weekend in May. Yes, chat says. Okay, so somebody when I published the 3 statistical secrets, first comment was like, "Sui." I had see you. There you go. Sorry, I said it wrong. Sui is like a pig call. See you, or how do you say that, chat? I had to look this up. Apparently, it's like a Portuguese thing or something that started off with European soccer or football, and so I was like, oh, it's like saying yes or see. See you, or however they say it. I should have looked up a video. Okay, was that the last question, Dad?
That was a teaser for our game night that you guys get to do. So now you have more of the idea of the content questions.
So that's the teaser. And if this is any preview, we're going to have some interesting fun. Bro, I hope you're doing your research. I hope Paola is doing her research. Thank you, everybody who was spending this hour with us at wee hours in the morning. But here, like I promised, last 10 minutes are your questions for us. If you have any questions about Fantasy Formula One, now is the time to ask those questions. Any questions about the race? Now is the time to ask those questions. Okay. Faf says, see you, Cristiano Ronaldo's quote when he scores a goal. Oh, that's right. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, see? Nice. Thank you. Any questions that you might have, chat? We've got our 10 minutes. It's 3:05 a.m., so we'll finish hard at 3:15. Any questions you might have? I don't think anyone asked that earlier, but someone did ask about fantasy. So if this is something we want to talk about with fantasy. Okay, Aman asks, what thoughts on Imola and its layout? Okay, Dad. Do you remember Imola last year? It was in the wet, but they haven't changed anything about its layout, have they? Let me pull this up. Let's look this up. Do you have any recollections, Dad, about Imola last year?
No.
That was the race where it was really wet and Hamilton almost DNF'd, and he had to back the car up, and then Russell and Bottas collided on the straight, which brought out a safety car and allowed Hamilton to get back in.
Which one was that Norris was ahead and he
That's Russia.
on the inners? Oh,
That's Russia. Okay. Any thoughts on MLS layout? Bro says McLaren, yeah or nah. And then JG is saying any value picks on recommendations. Okay, let's start with Imola. Let's go to the web. Okay, Italian Grand Prix at Emilia Romagna. Okay, so this is going to be an 8 a.m. race. Woo! Something that we can actually have a good time for. Okay, let's look. This layout, get up to speed with everything you need to know. 63 laps, 4.9 kilometers. Okay, let's see. I just think that with the cars being able to be a lot closer together, we're going to see more and more battling. I think that's the main thing, is that that in the past it was really hard for the cars to catch each other. Well, it was raining, but it was really hard for them to catch each other and pass here. We're definitely going to start seeing that action. Okay, bro saying McLaren, yeah or nah. Well, let's go over to our rank tab on the spreadsheet. Okay, so I think this is big cards. I think we're too big. Should I have a smaller version of us? It's whatever. We'll stay this big. Okay, so if we look over here on the left, and we'll zoom in. I could probably even go 200. There we go. So we have Ferrari, the highest scoring constructor, and McLaren sits in the middle of the pack with 55 points. So they had a good haul, but that's abysmal if you think about it. Only 55 points. So McLaren has got to make a lot of work up if they're going to go forward. McLaren is fourth most expensive. McLaren's value is at 1 point per million. So they have a PPR of 1, and they have a negative 3% value. That's a big oof. And I don't know. We'll have to see after free practice session 1 and 2. I just feel that that McLaren, if they have the pace that they had today, great. For the rest of the season, they're going to be able to fight for the podium, especially if Red Bull has reliability issues, right? Or if a Mercedes has a mistake. That would be good for them. Yeah, just look at this chart. Look how much Ferrari's outperforming. Mercedes outperforming Red Bull, which is understandable, but McLaren and everyone else, Alfa Romeo is outperforming everyone else, but McLaren is pretty abysmal. If we look over here, McLaren, their averaging position is 11th and losing 1 position. Isn't this crazy, Dad? Red Bull's averaging position is 6th, but they lose 15 places because of their DNFs. That is insane. And then if we go to our values, as we can see, McLaren is on the downside of things. So I, of course, being a McLaren fan, want them to be back. Definitely want them to be back. Is that going to happen? We don't know. Okay, value pick recommendations. JG says, oh, sorry, I guess I need to kick this back to our spreadsheet. Let me just do that, sorry. Okay, let's kick this over again. So as you can see here, this is the value to points per million comparison. So we see Magnussen is still, like, this is provisional results. So if someone gets a penalty or something, this might change when I update the spreadsheet. But Magnussen still has a 4% value, 2.7 points per million. Leclerc is still a must-have, especially because you can turbo him and he's winning races and getting fastest laps. Albon, surprisingly, with his performance this race, is now somebody to look at. Now, here's the issue. When we go over the rank tab, how expensive are these guys? Like Ocon, I should have stuck with Ocon. I'm probably going to immediately sub back. I know Alonso's great, but Ocon is more likely to raise in value. But we'll see. We'll see. If Alonso peaks, then I'll wait till Alonso peaks. He was at 90% this evening before we went live. So I could go stay with Alonso. Once he peaks, switch off to Ocon if people are wanting to pick him up, or switch over to Norris. But I don't think I can afford Norris. Here's my price points comparison. So for example, if I had Leclerc and I had Perez and I had Sainz and I had Magnussen and I had Ocon, what if I were to go Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Magnussen, and switch Ocon to Norris? Okay, so Norris is like 3 million more. Oh, look at that budget. look at that budget. So if I have roughly a 103.6, let's see. If I have a 103.6, it only costs 101 million to pick up Norris for my team. Let's say I switch to Red Bull, which is much more expensive. I need 107. So no. Okay. So it seems like Norris could be an easy pickup if I want to pick him up over Norris. Look at that, chat. The price picker. As you can see how the price points does, it highlights in yellow when it's got a better lineup. So picking up Norris means that it doesn't have as strong of a lineup compared to if I have no con. But you know, one race, we show how they're doing, and maybe it'll go better and better as it goes, as the season progresses. Okie dokie. Dad, are you thinking Norris is someone to maybe pick up or still watch?
I think I'd still stay with Ocon until he shows that he can be consistent.
That's true. Because let's look at this. Here's the rankings. So we have Ocon, which is the 5th highest score. He's tied with Perez. Big craziness that Perez and Ocon are tied on points right now. And then he has more points than Verstappen. And this is why I said Verstappen was overpriced. And, you know, it hurts really bad when he's having these DNFs, right? And so then we have Ocon, who is doing well for his quality and race streaks. If you look at that, he is still more expensive than Alonso by 0.2 million, but he's still cheaper than Gasly, Ricciardo, Norris. So he's looking good. He's at a 1.6 points per million with a 2.6 value. So, yeah, Ocon seems like somebody to have. But if we look at Norris, Norris has still got a PPR of 1. He still has a PPR of 1. That's crazy. His points per million is 1. Sorry, his PPR, his points per race isn't 1. His points per race is 16. He has a PPR of 16. Okay, fascinating. Bro says, if you didn't pick up Norris during the race, you missed out on a cool 0.1 million. Actually, it's a 0.2 million, bro. He rose up twice. And so
it's one of those things I have to get used to being able, once they're locking in, to be able to go and modify my team. I haven't gotten the hang of that yet. So I did miss out on that 0.2 million.
Yeah, I'll show that to you guys. For those of you who are still wondering about this, how that all works, I'll show you how that works. Let's go over to the web and switch over. Okay, so here at the top, it tells you what team you've got. So let me zoom in. Boop. So right here at the top, it shows your team. It says it's finished. Oh, fascinating. Dad, we need to take screenshots of... Man, this is the fastest that's finished. This is only an hour and or a little less than an hour and a half from the race ending. Whoa, the website's got its act together. But as you can see, you can immediately go to where it's unlocked for the next race. And so then you can start changing out your team. And so... if I were to go here, Alonso's sitting at 79%. He's dropped from 90% to 79%. So let's say I went here and I was like, I don't want Alonso, and I'm going to pick up Norris. Norris is at 10%. Let's switch out to his sentiment. Zhou is at 82%. So maybe switching out Bottas for Zhou. That's crazy. Zhou has 33 points. Bottas has 40. Zhou is 8.2 million. Bottas is 9.5. So maybe that's why he's going up. So for my day trading team, discard. For my day trading team, I guess then I'm going to keep Magnussen. Well, what do you think, Dad? Do you think Magnussen might bounce back for the next race or no?
You know, the Haas pace this race, it was kind of surprising. So if they don't change that, he's going to have a challenge.
So Norris is at 10%. So he got a performance boost of 0.2. Alonso didn't get quite up there. Oh, no, Alonso went up by 0.1. Look at that. So if you had Alonso, you did get a performance boost based off of quality and all that. Okay, I'm not going to pull the trigger yet because... So, like, discard. So, like, I could, but here's the issue, Dad. My team 1, which has Bottas, is my steady team. And so it's really against principle for me to start day trading on there, right? This happened this last race. I could not, on my day trading team, switch from Magnussen to Bottas because I already used one pick for my day trade. right? So if I'm over here on my day trading team and I commit to switching out Alonso for Zhou, but I know I'm probably not going to run Zhou, right? Yeah, I might sit on it a little bit. I might sit
Yeah,
on it
but
a little bit.
that is interesting how if you can once your team locks, then you can do day trading already, and you can get the change before if you think someone's going to have a performance improvement, you can have them on your team based on how you projected that they were going to that they did that race. So I can see why this locking it and being able to trade during the race and right after the race is going to help.
Good point. Look at this, chat. They haven't updated the average points yet, but right now, victory, we are on the top 5 for the 3 weeks in a row. Our one race challenge, our orc, has had the highest top 5 averages for points. You guys are amazing. Let's see what it looks like. I bet you if I go over to my teams, though, if I go over to my teams, it's probably not going to show us the rankings yet. Oh, look at that. Leaderboard will update after the race week finishes. So it hasn't finished yet. Yeah, there's a lot of people with zeros, but we'll take screenshots and make sure people aren't joining after the fact. Here we have a 0. Oh, Guillermo. Okay, so so look at the weird things. People aren't even showing up and stuff. But Dad, Dominick's got 198 points. It hasn't calculated yours and mine yet. But anyways, thank you, chat. We're sitting past our time. Thank you to everyone who asked questions, who came and joined us at the wee hours of the morning. Just remember that day trading is really important if you have a wild card. So if you think this is your opportunity, you better commit to it because we have 2 weeks before Imola. If you are not having a wild card for day trading and you only have 3 substitutions, there are so many reliability issues that are happening nowadays. I would just recommend use your subs to get points picks. Don't be chasing the price picks, the money picks, because getting a 0.1 million here or there, yeah, that's fine and all, but you have to get 10 of those over the course of a season to get even $1 million difference. And I don't know, it just seems that unless things start drastically changing for this website, it's better to just stay put and try to keep a meta going. What are your thoughts, Dan, as we close here?
I agree with that, and I'm saving mine just in case something obvious happens when there's a sprint race. I want to change some things out to take advantage if a streak and a sprint race happens at the same time and I don't have that driver. I might use my wild card and that time invoke the daily trading and
okay, let's not forget about this, chat. Imola is a sprint race. That means you only have free practice session 1 to figure out your team. And then it locks immediately for the sprint race. There was a question on Discord. I'll end with this. I know we're really close. We'll end with this. On Discord, there was a question. Do you make a drive Leclerc on a sprint race or when he has a power streak? Okay? A power streak would give you 15 points. A sprint race could give you 16. He would have to get the fastest lap and get pole position and lead, right? Well, with Leclerc's car, as good as it is, he might be a good pick for mega driving next race at Imola if it seems like the other teams haven't been able to catch up. Here's the downside of that, right? There's rumored to be major teams that are bringing their upgrades next race, so that could shake up the order. You still want to keep your eyes and ears for that. But thanks, Dad, for joining me. It's been late in the morning. And until next time, we'll see you on the pit wall.